Welcome to episode 11 of the Mixing Bowl. Now, before you jump to conclusions, we've not fell out. It's not the pillar across the bed. We're still in love, I can assure you. But that seat is for the special guest that obviously we talked about on our last Mixing Bowl. Now, we've been efficient because obviously as a small company, the budgets just don't stretch. So we've had to kind of combine our next guest as a guest and the new tea boy, and he's just making a brew for us, and he'll be coming in to sit between us and talk about all the favourite things that you love about fishing and the topical subjects that we like to cover here on the Mixing Bowl. So can I introduce you to, not only is he 3 times world champion, considered to be one of the best anglers out there today, but he's also the podcaster master himself, and he's joining us on our podcast here today. We've replaced the burning embers that are the fire for the ball of fire, which is the ginger wizard, the one and only Matt Godfrey. Matt, bring us that.
Which one's which here?
Give you a small clap.
I think you'll just choose whichever one you want.
That one's Joe's.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
That one's Mick.
Little ducklings, look. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, boys. Honestly, it's an absolute pleasure. I've been loving this podcast since it come out. And what an honour to see you. What a pub.
Like a little brew cheers. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, boys.
Welcome to the Wagon and Horses.
Welcome.
Great here, isn't it?
You like it?
Well, you've been in our studio, and this absolutely stomachs all over that,
It's
doesn't
a little
it?
bit different, isn't it?
It's a bit rose and it's nice and friendly and it's a warm chat. I mean, if you'd have sat there a couple of months back, you'd have had your back on fire, but you're fiery enough. We don't
Tell you
really
what,
need.
Keep
need
making
the
brews
fire.
like that, Matt. You can come again.
Do you like that one?
Nice, that.
It's a good one. And a new cup, Joe.
Yeah, I lost my last one. So I support Man United, and this is the only cup I'll be getting this year.
Well,
Can't argue with it.
as to absolutely non-football fans, you're not a football fan, are you? at all?
Not one bit.
Not one
This is a non-football
Show.
pubcast. Yeah. However, we do let Joe in and out a little bit. One or two of our loyal followers love his football taints, but obviously there are a lot of other people that don't. And for the Yorkshire contingency, we'll leave it there. But each
I'll tell you where I went the other day. I went fishing outside a footballer's back garden. Used to manage England team.
Who?
Southgate.
Gareth Southgate.
Gareth Southgate.
Did you?
And I didn't realise, but apparently we were fishing at weekend right in front of his garden, yeah.
Where was
Swinstead.
that?
Swinsty Reservoir.
Is that where he lives?
Yeah.
Does he really?
Literally massive house at back, lovely big garden, little pond in bottom. And someone come down and said, "Do you know who lives there?" I said, "Gareth
Is
Southgate." I
he
said, "Who's
that fella that famously missed a
I think
penalty?
he's missed a few.
All right.
And he had a waistcoat. He was all right. Very boring man.
What a-
Very boring man.
Yorkshireman.
No, he lived in Knaresborough. He lived in Nid, just outside Knaresborough, and then lived
Right.
in Harrogate, yeah.
There you go.
Even I've heard of him. He
Southgate.
must be famous.
Yeah.
Swinsty Res. That's what you've been up to. Because tell us why you've been there.
I'm just practising a bit of slider fishing. We've got the Euros coming up as we sat here. I think it's 2.5 weeks we go in Slovakia. Big massive lake. Sounds like it's going to be all waggler and slider style fishing, and there's not a lot of places you can go, sit down and do that kind of thing. So I've just been doing a little bit of that recently, practising.
Yeah, because there's plenty of bites there. And I think, would it be fair to say that when you're trying to practice something, I always find this, that you need bites to be able to work out if what you're practicing is actually right.
Yes.
Even if where you're going might not be as many bites, to see if your rig's working. And is that the case?
100%. And things like, obviously, firing bait in, getting in tangles. Nice thing about there is windy as hell. Sometimes actually go and sit with wind hacking in towards you on a rough day just to see
The worst
if
possible conditions.
Exactly that, because that's when you get caught out. You know better than anyone.
Absolutely. Slider fishing, that's like a forgotten art, isn't it? Although it's very alive and kicking on the international scene.
Enjoyable way to fish and all, isn't it?
Beautiful,
Lovely, innit?
beautiful.
Isn't it
One of
nice?
the favourite days fishing I ever had were in Enniskillen, and caught some big roach on it, and it was just great. But it's a tricky one, but it's a real test of your techniques and your skills and how you rig up, and obviously that's something that you've done a lot of.
So how much practice would you actually do then? Like,
Not
leading up
tons,
to it?
Joe, not tons. I'm lucky I live near Artill Reservoir,
Yeah.
so I like nip down there an odd evening or weekend if I can, and literally I'll just take a bucket of ground bait and get my catapults right. But I'll always like to do a bit of fishing, like you've said, just to... Does it hold still?
yeah, because you never
properly if
just
it's
fire
blowing?
40 balls in a row, do you?
No, never,
You
ever,
do it
ever.
every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes, don't you? It's hard.
Exactly. And you fire 2 or 3 and sit and fish for 10 minutes. So I'll go 3-4 weeks before, I'll probably go 6 or 8 times for a session. You know, firing a bit of bait in, having a little fish. But there's a few of us luckily live close. Denty, James Dent, Frankie Jam and Jelly. Little Brenda come up, he's in under 25s team. So we had a little
because you're all into that sort of style of fishing, you need to get it right. Because all three of you are obviously going to the Euros.
Yeah.
Frankie's first time.
Yeah.
Well, you're taking a high chair for him or a bib or?
You've got a dummy just to shut him up now and again.
Oh, he's the dummy.
Yeah. But you've been doing great, haven't you? You're on a right purple patch at minute.
Do you know something? Last time we sat down to film, I were right in the what I thought was the peak of my drawing disaster, and I don't like blaming Joe because obviously everybody blames Joe, but I can't. If you get smashed up every time around you, then I go in, have a word with yourself, don't you? Try and sort it out. But nobody's been catching up around me, and I'm like, what on earth? It was like a drought. I was like lost in the desert of, and I just thought there's no way back. And then, as if by magic, which is what fishing is, you go like that, you put your hand in, you're drawing some fish. I were a bit rusty on feeder masters, but managed to get away with it and picked a few fish off, qualified for that, and then returned back to Ferry Meadows, drew the next peg to it. Which obviously excited. I'd learnt a few bits, but interestingly, but it's not a time to talk about tactics and stuff, but the fishing was completely different. I had no liners the week before. I had 12 bream, £50, and I had 20 liners and only 9 fish. And anyway, qualified for a feeder cup, so fantastic. I'm buzzing actually.
2 finals in 2 weeks.
Yeah, in a week. Well, I'm hoping it's going to be 3 because my next match is Feeder King qualified at Southfield, and I believe that when you're on a roll, you're on a roll, and the draw plays a big part in match fishing. It's a bit of a problem. However, some people seem to be consistently better than others, and I don't mean at drawing, I mean just in fishing, and that's why we have these leagues, and that's why we have match fishing structured like it is, because and why I love team fishing, which we'll be talking about later on down this podcast, won't we? We'll be chatting about team fishing. So, and Joe's been doing a lot of fishing, but not necessarily. Well, you have matches and
won last time out. Yeah,
fantastic.
170 odd pound, very nice. A bit of pace, just for
I
change.
love looking at your side trays on your matches.
Bit of pace, just a little bit. Bit of pellet shallow as well. Bit of slop.
Just
where's that been?
Shearsby. That last time I went out, just throwing some slop in, caught a load shallow, and then very short on a bit of pace.
I'd love to come and have a day with you on pace. Never ever get a chance to do
Ringer
it.
Kevin had a go on my kit at the weekend at Alders Farm Open Day, which we'll chat about in a sec. And he was like, his head just came off. He's like, I can't understand what you're doing. Mick came with me, and he's like, I don't understand what you're doing, but you're catching one every chuck.
No, it's completely different mentality because you're thinking about upbait and you're focusing on upbait, and it's not about that. It's about them coming in and slurping up what ordinarily would be your ground bait the way that we fish, but he's putting the ground bait on his hook. Basically, is how I've finished.
Well, I always think about it this way. It's quite simple. Jamie Hughes tells everyone, feed a little trap and put your hook bait right on top of it. Well, why not make the trap your hook bait? Seems obvious to me because that's what they want. Yeah,
that's what you're doing, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems totally obvious to me, but no one else seems to get it.
Is it method feeder on a pole almost?
Yeah. It's like the ultimate trap, isn't it? Hiding your hook.
Is your pace soft? You've not put any of them videos out yet, have you?
No, not yet.
You could do a little series.
Yeah, done a little 4-part. Yeah, that'd be good. That will. I mean, Mick's seen it. It's like running off the hook.
It's softer than a soft thing on a soft day. I'll tell you what.
Really?
Yeah.
But we watched them, didn't we, in clear water, and they just drink it in.
I put it like this. It's why he pours his bait in. He don't cast it in. He pours it in, and I'm saying that the pace pulls his hook to the bottom. His rig doesn't take the pace to the bottom.
Okay.
And I've said it like that because that kind of gives you some kind of idea of what it's actually doing. So he's tipping his paste in, it's dragging his hook to the bottom because his hook is stuck to it. His hook is not holding his paste on, his paste is holding his hook to the bottom. So when it drinks the paste in, so does the hook. The hook goes in as well.
It's very effective.
And that's a difficult thing to do if you've fished, I think, traditionally. But Joe's a brilliant chameleon. He can morph into any kind of fishing. I think if we went fly fishing, he'd be the best at it. If we went sea fishing, because well, we can say it now, can't we? 'Cause it's not just me and him, and I bull him up because obviously.
No, it's ridiculous. You don't want to be anywhere near him. Get away.
Brilliant.
Nowhere
fishing.
near.
Top class.
Don't be daft.
It's a good job we didn't go fishing more, isn't it? We'd all have to have under the covers.
Someone put something on Facebook with it. I think it was a picture of you at Barnsley, and I said, like, honestly, one of the best all-round anglers ever. But you obviously, it's good for everyone else that you don't do everything anymore.
That's good, isn't it?
But when
I
it
do
does-
more fishing than ever. I'm out of sight, dressed in green a lot of the
Are
time.
you, when's it starting? What we got now?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Not long. What we on? June 3rd, 2nd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah.
Brilliant.
Looking
Will
good.
you go straight away when it
I
opens?
don't know. I went for a look the other night and saw some fish, so I'm tempted.
Nice.
I'm tempted.
Nice.
We're going to drive back by the river, Matt, because obviously
They
we're
were
on
like
it.
this or no?
We're the big ones. Yeah, and we'll drive down Fiskerton, which is quite close by here, because I just can't help myself. I always come the sort of roadway and then back the riverway when I leave this beautiful place, because I just can't help it. And last time when we filmed on the jetty, I think some of you guys guessed it was Fiskerton. I don't think we've actually admitted where it were, but it's Fiskerton at Bromley Arms, and there's a jetty there, and we sat on that and got sunburned and filmed an episode of this. And there were little chub topping and some big chub topping, weren't there?
Yeah, there were.
But lots of little fish, which is great, because I think
And we've had a bit of rain as well.
yeah, people have been worried about
Freshen
that big flood that we had that had it washed all the small fish into the fields. Do the small fish sustain? Can they survive sustained flooding? There's all sorts of speculation, but that's the thing about fishing, speculation. But
We've had a very different spring though so far, haven't we? It's been
weird.
red hot.
Yeah.
It's been generally
Dry.
quite mild. Very little rain. I'm saying great for spawning fish.
Yeah,
this year.
I was filming
Yeah.
yesterday and the fish were spawning like mad. In fact, it made the fishing really hard, in fact, because we kind of knocked it on the head because the fish were just going mad. And it seems to have gone on for ages, hasn't it?
yeah,
I thought they'd get it done, because we said 2 or 3 episodes ago, we're like, oh, they're spawning.
yeah. But
Still at
it has to be warm and sustained warmth, doesn't it? And they talk about 18 degrees, and I'm sure some of our viewers are brilliant at knowing exactly what it is. We just do it visually, don't we? We can tell the spawning, and that's what we were greeted with on Saturday morning, which we were all together last weekend, weren't we?
Yeah.
And the fish were having a little spawn in the morning, as they do, but then they actually stopped and started feeding, and Joe were doing his paste technique.
Yeah,
so
Alders Farm, yeah.
we were at Alders Farm Fishery open day.
Great day. Really good.
Guru were there, Dyer were there, we went, MAP, Fuka, BMC, Garbolino, and fantastic day, which is, we've done 2 of them this year, and you've been at both, Matt. Tell us about what your...
I always leave them days, me, just like sore throat, can't talk anymore. Literally, just love talking to. You meet so many different people.
The good days.
All
They
kinds
are.
of people. And all.
Yeah, I've asked them one local to us.
Yeah.
I saw people I hadn't seen for 15 years. Brilliant.
I noticed that. A lot of people, a lot of old faces.
Yeah.
What do you think brought people out of the woodwork
I think
for that?
I think that it's the fact that there was a nice mix of different people there to come and have a chat to. You guys were there. Joe's come up from down where he lives. Dyer have ventured down from Scotland. Will Raisins drove up. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a small fishery, and Alders is the same. Relatively small fishery, but just this rich tapestry of brands and people, and everyone. I don't want to sound overly positive, but everyone's just having a good time, up for having a natter. Want to sit and talk about fishing, have a look at some kit if you want to, have a go at fishing if you want to. Like, what a great day for people to come and enjoy.
It's the first time we've got involved as Nufish to any of these open days, because obviously we're feeling our feet, and last year we did the big one show, and this year we decided not to, for various reasons that it's well documented already. But so I didn't really know what to expect, and we went with an open book, and obviously you guys have done them before. And we were quite happy to play bridesmaids to the great brand that's Guru. And you put on a fantastic show, marquees up, and had all your rods and all your carbon products, your poles, but also fishing demos. And what we tried to do is a little version of that, where we had a little table, showed people our new products, new line, and things like that. And then Joe obviously did what he does with paste. That's how good paste is. He made it work on both open days, but he adjusted it accordingly.
Incredible, isn't it?
And I noticed there were an interesting mix of, not only a mix of us, but a mix of visitors.
Totally different.
Serious anglers, occasional anglers, families.
The
lots
number
of families.
was amazing, wasn't it? On both events, especially at Alders.
Considering that,
Great to see.
The general consensus opinion is that it's a dying sport. People aren't getting into it. There's no young uns.
There were loads of kids caught the first fish on these open days.
Yeah, I've got this thing, me. I said it in Ireland on that Classic Festival. I did a little chat after the end of the whole event. This thing about kids not getting into fishing, all anyone's ever said to me, bear in mind I've seriously fished since I'm about 4. And after a while it gripes a bit, because all I've ever heard is there's no kids coming into fishing, there's no kids coming into fishing, it's going to be knackered, we're not going to have a job, no one's going to be able to go fishing, tackle shops are all going to die. And it's like, and we're still here, and everything's still
the world's
good at
not
them
ended,
open days, and I'm like, look at this. But I think fishing's a sport where there's so many other income streams of anglers that come into it at different points in the life, and it's not just about this bottom level of kids. And the open days that we've done at Aston and Alders definitely prove that to me, because dozens of people over them 2 days come up to me and went, just started again. And I'm like, you're 52.
Yeah.
You're 45.
Yeah.
You're 38. Yeah, I am. I had a couple of kids when I was like 18, 19, and they've just going through top end school now, so I've been able to get my kit back. Dozens of people, and that's just at them 2 little venues, and that's just the people that have had the nuts to come up to you and go, I've just got back into that. So there must be a lot of that kind of person coming into our sport, and I'd love to, if you could see a chart of when did you start fishing, I think you'd have a lot at the bottom end and teen age areas where I'm going with my mate after school. But I also think there'd be really common streams of people coming into it at different points. And I think that's a massive thing in fishing.
Point.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Great point.
I've said on here before that it's adults we need to get into fishing, not kids. And not because I think it's great with kids, but kids can't drive, so they can't take themselves. You know, you're not going to put them on a push bike and send them down because the world doesn't work like that these days. And most of us don't live near a little pond. That used to be how it was, like a little farm pond. But because we've got these great fisheries like Alders and Aston Park in Sheffield, Alders are down in Milton Keynes, we're drawn to them. And so therefore then you need an adult to take them to them, because that's where it's at. And all the work that we do, the promotion things, sort of steers people towards that kind of place. So, and you're right in what you said. And when I used to spend a lot of time in tackle shops, I was amazed how many 50-year-olds had come in and asked if they could buy a licence.
Yeah.
Licence has not been sold for 20 years, even back when, and it's been a few years since I'm talking about, which told me that they'd not been fishing since licences were sold in tackle shops.
Yeah.
So they'd fished up to the age of 22, got married, had kids, life takes over, mortgage, working shifts, whatever it is. Then they come back to it, and there's a lot of them. A mate of mine who I know from my young days, a guy called Rob Price, he messaged me the other day, got this seat box, he's been perched, he's been lure fishing, I'm coming back, and he's got himself a box, because he'll be 54. 55, and that's the return.
The industry's got
anglers.
He's got 20. Our industry's got 20 years of Rob now.
Yeah, exactly.
Buying tackle, gunner fisheries, watching our films. 20 years of him.
Absolutely, which is great. If I look 20 years ago, that's a long time ago.
Because there's no end of like lads that I grew up with who fished as much as I did when we were young, and then they have kids or whatever happens, like in the 20s, drift away from it. They'll come back in the 40s, maybe 50s, when they've probably got few more quid or a bit more time. Kids have gone, well, you know.
And they build their lives. They go away and build their lives, don't they?
Because people want to get out of the house at the moment, don't they?
Absolutely.
Everyone's sick of. I know we're doing it now. We're on the. People are probably going to watch this on their phones, but everyone's sick of scrolling, aren't they?
Yeah.
They want to get back out again.
This is definitely different to that scrolling though, because this is a sit down and have a watch in an evening or whatever. Whereas I think that's pointless scrolling. Is you see someone at an open day like that on the phone, and I just think, what are you even doing here? If you want to sit and
But people are getting fed up of it, aren't
they? Definitely.
But those sorts of days, really positive.
Oh, great.
Great for fishing, great for us.
Come away with a really good feeling, don't you? Both times I came away like smiling on it, you know what I mean?
Releases something, doesn't it? It definitely gets you.
You feel like you've made a difference, and I genuinely were excited for both days, and considering everything that you've done and everything that you do, and it's almost like a work day. It weren't actually. It were an enthusiastic interaction. We get to meet a lot of people who watch this, came and saw us, which is fantastic. But then a lot of people, you could see, genuinely new They don't know who your brand is, they don't know who you are, they go fishing, and what's this for and what's that, and then they watch Joe or yourself or Ringer, Will Raisin, they were all there demoing, and fantastically positive. We've got a little flyer.
One of us is right. I'm saying whoever catches that in this show gets the lunch bought for him.
I've not brought my chopsticks. Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah.
But it's super positive,
Yeah,
great for fishing. And, you know, just on to Guru a little bit, I mean, it's brilliant, everything that you do. You obviously get involved with Talent Pathway, you're constantly promoting fishing, you're out there, you're interacting, and I think that's a brilliant thing that you're doing as a company. And I know Corda have always, you know, interacted with people and engagement, because ultimately fishing is a very tactile sport, and getting out there, and we're just starting our journey and kind of following suit a little bit, really. Because
you've been doing some coaching days, haven't you?
Yeah.
And you've got the
we've got
All England champs.
4 coaching days that we're doing for our sort of followers on social
Got one
media.
next week, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got one back at Aston Park. We did one at Rookery, which went really well. People enjoyed that, and it's great feedback as well, as much as anything, because you get to know people saying, well, I can't use this, or I can't use that, or I find that awkward, or this is too heavy, this is too light, it's too fiddly, you know, I can't make this. How do you use that? And that's what I love about it, because obviously that's feeding back for business. But I genuinely, and it's not a cliche, you actually realise that I didn't teach myself to fish, and neither did anybody really. People go out to teach themselves to fish. No, they don't, because if they get the bug, and they then pull in information from books in the day, from the old VHS videos. So if we don't provide that sort of service back, then how can we expect people to enjoy what we enjoy? And there's a little bit of deep sort of satisfaction in there. And I just love what we're all trying to do.
We are trying to put stuff back in, aren't we?
Yeah,
ultimately.
and listen, it's
People say we don't, but we are doing it.
It's very important that as brands, we kind of keep our industry flowing, keep our flow of traffic, because we can't be involved in it. We can't satisfy our lust and our love. I've been into the office this morning and looking at some new samples that have just arrived. I had a quick chat with Rich Wilson and Darren because I really enjoy what I'm doing. That can only happen if we sell some product to put the electric lights on, because it would be difficult to see samples in the dark. So we have to do that, and so, you know, that's 50% of the thing. But the other thing is the fantastic feedback and feeling that you get. What does confuse me though, and it seems to be happening quite a bit, and I'd be interested in what your thoughts are, Matt and Joe, is for all the good that you do, there seems to be a little bit like sort of negativity coming back, and a bit of backlash, and a bit of sort of not the same feeling in return. On social media especially, you know, you get, I can't explain it. I mean, is that something you've come across in your line of work?
Does my head in, honestly. Does it? Yeah, well, we've got a little WhatsApp group, haven't we, if we're honest, where we just take the mick out of people that do it, because I just can't believe they do.
It's hard, isn't it? It's really hard, because you get a lot of negative, but I'm quite a positive guy, and I like to look on the, you know, glass half full kind of guy, and I always think for every 100 you get comments, you get like 3 bad ones, don't you? So I like to look at the thing, I'll just try and push it to one side. But I must admit, when you do 100 videos in a year, and them 3 comments add up, don't they?
Yeah.
And they start to get to you sometimes, don't they?
Yeah. What do you think drives them? What's the issue?
Oh God, if you look at half the normally I like to. So if it's a particularly bad one, if they swear or they're offensive, it's a ban and delete. Because my attitude is I'm not trying my best to give you good stuff, to show you some good fishing stuff, to get a load of anglers together to help you. I'm not willing to do that.
No.
For someone who wants to be offensive or nasty. So if there's swear words in it, or it's it's just a ban and delete. And then I'll go to Mainline Matches page and ban and delete them off that. And then I'll text Ringer and Frankie and everyone and back, so that when we're doing a free coaching day or a Christmas competition, that person's out the equation.
Yeah.
Like really punish them.
Yeah.
I'd love to go up to them and tell them what I really thought of them, but
Yeah, but that'd be nice to pie to your face.
Of course they would. Of course they would.
That's the truth of the matter.
And some people have got a nice some people can say, it's not for me that I don't really like commercials.
Constructive criticism is fine.
That's
isn't it?
fine, but it's when it's this like, negative
Bitter.
comment for the sake of having a negative comment.
Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it?
Why would somebody take time out of their day?
Yeah.
Because you have to physically, make an effort to go onto a post. You might be reading it, and you've decided that you want to rain on their parade. And I'm going to say something else, but it's a family show. And type in something derogatory or degrading or super silly. There's almost like a bit of a condescending. Yeah, what's new about that?
All right.
You big head.
I've been doing that since 1988. Sound.
We're not,
Thousands of anglers have never seen it before.
And
Exactly.
I just scroll on if I
If it's not to your taste, just carry on with your day.
no, and and I don't think we've probably told you this, Matt, but on one of the open days we had 800 people, for instance, 799, superb, and we had one guy stood with us growling over at the other side of the lake, and hoping that Bagger weren't successful.
Yeah.
In the fact that, well, look at him, and I'm like, what's wrong with what do you want? And as somebody, all three of us who try to give out good content, we try to share the love of fishing, obviously product development. Yeah, not everybody's product might suit them as a customer, but it's like we're just trying to give something in.
They'd moan if we stopped, wouldn't they? And we didn't give anything away.
100%.
And there was no content for them to
100%.
watch
So
or tips for them to try at the next match.
What do we do so badly that we offend them so much?
It's what
It's not
you
us,
said.
is it?
No, it's the purposefully going out the way to write something derogatory or bad about it when you're just trying to do something good. But I also think them people probably in any other social circle wouldn't and shouldn't have an opinion. Like if you were all in a group, they probably don't go fishing.
No.
They probably don't go fishing.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
In a social group, they probably won't get invited to the next outing.
They've probably not got a social group, or they might be somewhere, but I just feel like it's annoying when they get that say on something that you're trying to be positive about. And there's so many of them.
I saw one with William Ways the other day, and he had a go at them, and then he came back and apologised the next day. He said, "Sorry, I was just having a bad day." Yeah, but you don't need to vent on us, do you?
No,
do you know what I mean?
But some of the content that they write is so deep and meaningful, and obviously heartfelt, and they meant it.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
To then have to come back to apologise. I always believe that never a truer word said other than in jest. Or when you're in a moment and your blood's hot, you say what you mean.
Yeah, comes out.
Or when you're drunk, you say what you mean. Truth, if you have a bit of truth,
Yeah.
it comes out. And I think when people are raging, and I saw some messages on a page that you were on, and they were kind of wishing you ill.
It's embarrassing.
That's about a couple of
I
months back, weren't it?
screenshotted some. Can I show you a couple?
Yeah, of course you
In
can.
my preparation for this. These are the ones that some of them I just think are thick. So this is my favourite one. Andy Bennett did a live demo.
Yeah,
real,
fantastic. I
Real
loved it.
technical shallow fishing for F1s, and if anyone's ever done it to a high level, it's one of the most tricky things to get right. They blow your bait in and out, you miss a million bites. To get one every chuck in and win as many matches as Andy Bennett does on that kind of fishing, you have to be next level, and he is. That guy's the best.
He's the best.
Yeah, amazing.
Malcolm Griffiths. So the picture or the video is 62 people, did an head count, sad I know, stood behind Andy Bennett watching him do this demo. Malcolm Griffiths. Why would anyone stand round watching that? But then I flicked onto Malk's profile.
Stopped him.
Fourth thing down, single. Like, and he's got a picture from about 1980 with some tench. He's probably still using the same tackle now, and he's not even got a proper picture of himself. And I just think, why would you?
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. What's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point in saying what's the point?
Exactly.
Move on.
Move on.
Nothing here.
Go and watch some tennis videos.
How can the 50 odd people be wrong? Well, some of them driven a long way to see a master at work, a master of his own skill.
Yeah. Them trying to give you your information. I had front row seat because obviously I was sat bang opposite back there. I thought his demonstration was super.
It was great, wasn't it?
Loved it.
Great.
How can you argue with a
How
bloke
can you argue with it?
absolutely?
And I'd love
takes
to
the
watch
mickey
Will and
fishing?
Ringer this weekend.
Yeah.
I would love to go on and watch them and
People
taking in
pay-
what they were saying.
People pay £300 a day to watch that, and
So
I'm going to do one for free because it's an open day.
It's an absolute travesty. But I've heard people say, "Is it jealousy?" I'm not down for that, because I can't believe anybody would be jealous of another man who has taken his time and effort to learn a skill, develop his skills, develop his techniques, perfect it, and we will touch on this later on in this podcast. Is that the amount of effort, time, dedication, application, and preparation that goes in for people to be at a point where other people might be jealous, envious, or even, it sounds like hatred, towards their success. But I don't go for that because I don't believe people are like that.
No.
But I do begin to wonder. And all I can say is that for all the positives that we do and all the things that we're trying to do, I hope that the majority of people love everything. I mean, Matt, you're a master of the big screen, obviously clearly a natural, not only as a fisherman, but obviously as a person who comes across on media. And I'm going to say it definitely won't stop us doing what we're doing, and it definitely won't stop you. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take all that energy, whether it be negative, turn it into positive, put it back into our fishing, because that is important to be able to put that energy into your fishing, which is what I want to talk about after we've made a brew, is what goes into international fishing. So now then, T-lad, let's have a top.
Come on then. Have I nicked your cup, by the way?
Dry job, isn't it?
I think
There's
I
no
did.
sugar in this.
Is there not?
No.
What does that one say on it?
It says Mr. Grumpy.
Mr. Grumpy. Well,
We're talking about that, aren't we? So we can get to Malcolm, can't we?
We're recharged.
Fully.
Char. I managed to put the word char into a sentence there. That was good, wasn't it? Tea up, chat.
I could get into this, lads. It's
you reckon?
great, isn't it? Yeah.
Very, very calm. Isn't it?
Brews and a natter about fishing.
A lot of people
about
have said,
that?
why don't we have a pint? Because we're in a pub and it's sacrilege. But I think now that they've realised that they get a lot more sense when we're drinking tea. I mean, I've obviously got a drop of bells in mine, but...
Malcolm had had it a lot harder if we'd had a few beers, wouldn't he? Definitely.
he could have got ready, couldn't he?
Yeah.
And quite a few more people, probably.
Yeah.
But we have to keep a serious head and a level head on us because, of course, as people are listening to us, we need to make sure that we deliver what we do. But seriousness is obviously something that's quite common around these three seats. And what I mean by that is that we take what we do, both as our living and our sport, which is intertwined. Really, I can't see where one finishes and the one starts. And seriousness is something that, when you apply it to fishing, turns into success, I think. And obviously, as I mentioned when I introduced you, you've got 3 world titles, and it's only a matter of time before you add to that. Now, that's not even talking about how many times you're going to stand up on the podium, and I've done already internationally. But I have read and listened, and there's a lot going on. It's obviously international season. The feeder team are on the way to Lithuania this very week. So by the time this is aired, you might have actually competed and hopefully brought home the silverware. Wish them all the best.
Yeah, good luck to him.
Yeah, absolutely, great team. And the level of commitment and application, dedication, preparation that goes into that, I think is misunderstood. And what I'm driving at, and the question I'm going to ask you is, there seems to be a complete lack of sort of understanding and also appreciation, and therefore then connectivity between angling in our community, what we do for a living, and then what we do and what we enjoy personally. Why is that, in your opinion, Matt? What do you think?
I don't know because what you get with the international side of it from being in it, I think, is the people that do. You get a lot of positivity. You must have had this. When you were in it, you do feel like you get quite a lot
Massive.
back from it. Like it's all people want to talk to you about. When you're posting stuff on social about it, when you're actually in it and there,
Yes.
it gets massive traction. We did a live podcast a month and a half ago, and all 90% of the questions that the audience asked were about international fishing to either Ringer or myself.
Interesting.
So I'm not sure how uninterested people actually are. the one thing I'd say is maybe they are a little bit more bitter towards or negative towards perhaps the accessibility of international fishing and being able to get into it themselves a little bit more.
Yeah.
Or experience a taste of it. We talked about slider fishing earlier. How many of the viewers have fished a match on a slider? I mean, comment if you have. Have you fished a match in the last 10 years on a slider?
I haven't.
Exactly, have you?
In the last 10, no, it's probably longer
That's
than
what
10
I mean.
years ago.
Like that's so. Like I feel like that kind of thing would massively help if we had a little bit more of that going on in our country, but we don't.
No.
And the more that I look at it, it's everything has become massively fragmented.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's right to say what you said about it doesn't get loads of love, because being in it, I feel like it does get a lot of love.
Well, yes.
And when you're out there,
Oh,
it's buzzing. It's all that Europe. It's all that Europe really care about.
Oh no, massive. If you're an international angler, when you step on European soil,
Yeah.
you're completely treated
you're
differently.
elevated, aren't you?
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because everybody there knows who you are. When you have a show here, the foreign anglers all want to come and have the photograph taken with you because they've watched from afar, and I think they then sort of look at you with a sense of like sort of elevation.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's noticeable when we've done the big one show in the past. You'll see that because they've studied and watched and looked on. Whereas I think when you're an angler and you're fishing in amongst people, I think there's sort of that commonness, the sort of people familiarity, and it kind of dumbs it down a little bit. But just touching on something that I'd kind of realised lately, I stepped away from the England feeder team last year, and so this will be the first World Championships that I've not been to in 14 years or something. And what I've found interesting is when you are in the thick of it, you get all the positivities comes. People want to talk to you about it, they want to blah blah blah. When you step away from it, it's not the same. You're looking on and you can't see any of it, and that's because the 20 or 30 people that come and talk to you about it, it's almost like bounces into you, and you're feeling it, and you're thriving off it, and you're living off it, and therefore then, it's a bit like the comments that Joe mentioned. You get 99 positives and one negative. It's the negative one that sticks. So when you're getting 20 people saying, "Oh, brilliant, well done at Worlds and great trip and all that," but I've had 3 or 4 people ask me when I'm going to World Champs, because they don't even know that I've stepped away from the team, because they're not really interested. And I've took on board the positive comments in the past, and people still throw them at me because I'm not in it. I don't take them on the same.
Yeah.
And people talk. Somebody introduced me to somebody else as international feeder angler, and I'm like, well, I'm actually not. I've retired. Stepped away. I don't.
Yeah,
like
but you are.
I don't like using the word retired because I might not be yet.
Exactly.
But
you never. You are still international feeder angler though, because you have done it. I know you've retired, but if you win a World Champs, you're always world champion, aren't you? If you're in England international, you're always international.
Former, yeah. And but I worry that I spent 14 years in it, absorbing it, loving it, thriving off it. But actually now I stand there thinking, well, actually, they're only me and them 20 people cared.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've got this word in my mind that nobody cares about the international scene.
They do.
Well, you're right in it. I've been in and out of it. You've flirted in and out of it, Joe. And I think if you would have obviously not started a family and built your life, you would also be going off to the European Championships this week. What's your thoughts?
Can I think about the? I must admit, I'm totally disconnected from it all now. I try not to, because when I was at Preston, I was invested in the feeder team because Preston sponsored the team at the time, and I used to have to go and do the coverage, which I absolutely loved being a part of.
Great.
It was brilliant. You're right in the thick of it. You see it from a different side. You see the amount of effort the lads put in, the infrastructure. It's amazing. And a bit like what Matt said, the numbers you used to get on social media from that weekend and the week leading up to the actual event were bigger than anything else that Preston did at the time. It was massive. And granted, we drummed it up to make it happen like that, but people are interested in it. But I can only speak from my personal perspective now. I didn't know you were going to the European Champs.
No.
Excuse my ignorance. I knew the feeder team was going because Steve told me. Do you know what I mean? And there's no like build up to it anymore.
That's my, when you're in it, which is you've brought that up, and you were in it because
because I had to.
You come out with my dad to Belgium, never forget it.
Yeah.
So you were thinking about that for a month before because you have to go away for a week.
Yeah.
Then you've built it up because you want to make sure that what you're doing is a success, and you do build it up. And it's funny.
Yeah.
I've seen one post on the Drennan England feeder team to say we're going to be away, watch out some lives, and we talked about it at work the other day, and somebody said, "Well, I saw a post the other day. Does it sort of just happen for a week and that's the focus and it's gone?" And you know, somebody asked me the other week on a match, doesn't he fish for feeder team? And I said, no, he actually doesn't he fish for the any method feeder team, freestyle. Sorry, I can never get the name right. It's the freestyle fit. There you go. That's a point. The freestyle feeder team, doesn't he fish for them? I said, no, he actually fishes for the over 55s feeder team. The fact that they kind of go, he goes feeder fishing internationally. And if I asked the viewers if they could name the England float team today, or the European squad, or the feeder team that's going to Lithuania, I reckon it'd be interesting.
It would.
And it worries me that. It bothers me.
Yeah, it's a thing, and I'd be really passionate about and love to be able to raise the profile of international fishing in the UK, definitely. And I think that definitely there are governing the Angling Trust. I think they could do more to do that, 1,000,000%. I mean, we haven't even got a sponsor, the England main float team, which doesn't means we haven't got.
It's a travesty, isn't it?
But we haven't got someone coming to do the coverage. We all take it on our own back to do some and shout about it and talk about it. But
you need a media guy, don't you? Really?
Even if the Angling Trust came and covered it, because we ain't got a sponsor to try and help us get one, might be nice from the governing body to do that. But what I feel like we're talking about here, who won the Match This final last year? Who won Golden Rod final last year?
Zach.
There you go. He's knows.
Because he's into the commercial
scene. Who won
scene.
the show last year?
Dave Shires.
Oh yeah. It was, I knew it was.
But it's,
I know.
Yeah.
Because that's not what I'm into.
Can you name anyone who's qualified for the show so far this year?
Yes.
I want to say Dale Shepherd, but that's for the Maver one.
But
I think.
I couldn't tell
because I'm not plugged into that.
Yeah.
And what about you? Do you name them all?
I couldn't tell. No.
Right.
No. Jamie Hughes qualified for Fisher.
Andy Powers, stab in the dark.
But like
Christian.
So in reverse then,
like
you're not into what they're doing.
Not necessarily not into it, because I love it.
No, but you can't keep up with it.
There's that much.
Yeah, great point.
There's that much.
It's watered down, isn't it?
We're not even mentioned Feeder Masters.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
To take your time, isn't
And
it?
like,
I've got 3 feeder comps going off at the minute.
Yeah.
And even my family go, which one was that then?
Exactly, and
Is it
like
Feeder King, Ferry Feeder Cup or Feeder Masters? And we've got the Feeder Masters Super League that's going off, and fair comment.
It's like we said, didn't we? Like all 3 of us go fishing all the time, and yet we never bump into each other.
Exactly.
No, that's right. We're on different circuits.
And if you said to the audience, can you name the England float team, can you name the feeder team? But like, if you said to that same group of people, can you say who won Golden Reel 2 years ago? Unless they were only followed that event and went on them quality, I feel like they'd really struggle. If I said to you who won Feeder Masters 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Whereas when it was Fisher Mania on its own, if you'd have said to me, who won Fisher in 1998, a lot of people would be able to go, it were him in 98 because it were here and he had this weight and because all the focus were on it. And by the same token, everyone remembers when Nuddy won and Kevin won and Alan won his 5 because they were only...
One World
That was the focus.
It was
that was the big deal, wasn't
it? The England team, not England float, England feeder, England freestyle feeder, over 55s, under 75s.
Feeder Masters, Feeder King, Langold Feeder Cup, Match This, Golden Reel, Golden Rod, Guru Commercial Masters.
Another one.
So everyone's eyes and
the all England
attention, all England.
I've gone and added to the problem.
You've not. It's not. Is it a problem?
Not a problem though,
is it a problem?
No. But it's an interesting topic because I obviously I've got massive respect for anybody who's achieved international level of fishing because of the dedication, the application, preparation. I've
Yes.
said that three times. I've used that today because I know that they are the three key things that always mattered to me to make the difference between going fishing and then achieving something at fishing. And I think one of the things I wanted to talk about in international fishing is what becomes a bit of a topic, and I can see that the people that are in it are super in it, and they are, for me, the masters of what they do. And then we've got these commercial masters, the guys who are absolutely beyond. And you've mentioned him, Andy Bennett. Andy Powers is another one that you mentioned, Joe, who, has he qualified for 3 or 4?
All of them, I think.
Oh, he's also qualified for Feeder Masters as
Yeah,
well.
all of them.
Already.
He's had a right run.
Yeah,
He'll probably qualify for River Fest.
Jamie
as
Hughes
well.
has qualified for his 14th Fishermania in a row.
He is
Incredible.
How?
Incredible.
He's ultimately the kiddie at
He's the Alan Scott on a Fishermania,
commercial
isn't he?
fishing.
100%.
Yeah, because I know, Bennett obviously prefers F1. Sorry, seems to have mastered F1s, but you won't want to be beside him on a kart match.
Do everything.
Jamie does it all. Andy Powers does it all, and these people are probably even more perfect at what they do, and the perfectionists, and they've achieved more because that's actually a multitude of different venues. Whereas when we go international, we super focus and bring it in tight for it's going to be slider, so we make sure the slider thing's right. Whereas they're hopping from commercial to commercial to commercial, and every single one of them's different. You know, Jamie Hughes rocks up at Spring Vale, fantastic venue that we all love, wins, qualifies, and does it his way.
Yeah.
The adaptability that they've got.
Fantastic.
But dedication, I mean, we've obviously got you here. Joe is immensely dedicated to his fishing. If he wants to go and catch a £8 chub, he goes and catches one. And he'll get the pace right, the hook right, the rig right, and he'll mess. And we went fishing one particular day, and I'm like, what's that? He got something on his hook, and he actually made some hook baits because he wanted them to be X, Y, Z, critically balanced, and they were nice and bright. And I'm like, wow, that's incredible. And he'd mess with some rigs. And I know that's something that you never stop tinkering. Is that what sets people apart, do you think?
I think so, yes. And international fishing is a minefield of preparation. And I think that what you talk about commercial-wise, that Jamie, Andy May, Christian, whoever, their kit is probably a lot more minimal than ours. They don't need as much kit. They don't need as many rigs. They don't need as many hooks tied.
They've got a lovely skill set and they can take that to loads of different places and do really well.
But they have to be able to go to this venue, go to that venue, go to another venue. It's a different depth. You're fishing up to some reeds. The F1s feed differently there. Whereas when you go abroad and international fishing, we're going to Slovakia, and it's likely to be slider, but there's normal slider, which is traditional, lead weight, some fluorocarbon, your hook length. If it's windy, very stable. There's also this check slider rig that's been really effective the last few years. It's basically a pole rig on a slider that allows you to fish a lot less lead down. Which on a calm day, if you can fish with 3 gram down rather than 12, it's massive.
So you're fishing top and bottom, but at distance?
Exactly that.
Like a fixed waggler, just to explain that to everybody. So you're up the size of the waggler and lower the size of the lead. So if it were 3 gram pole float, it's basically 3 gram pole rig, and then what sort of size float?
20 gram, 20 or 22 or 25 gram.
To compensate, so that you can cast a 3 gram float and it doesn't interfere, the lead and the weight doesn't interfere with your casting.
Yes, exactly that. But there's also, one end of this venue is 2.5 metres deep and the other end's 4.5 metres deep. And in the 2.5 metre couple of sections, A and B, it's really likely on a calm day you'll be fishing a fixed waggler, a traditional waggler. Style. Yeah. So already there's a normal slider,
3 amazing
a check
techniques.
rig, but there's also a load of bleak potentially.
Yeah.
So you need sets of whips for bleak.
Yeah, and then there's a pole.
And you can't go to a Euros without a pole because everyone ligs some bait in. And on the pole, on this big lake, after a few days of fishing it in the past,
some bream and
well, there's always been massive carp coming, like 15, 20 pound things.
Right.
So you need a set of kit to catch the skimmers if they come in on the pole, and some short line and bleak kit. And if these big fish come, you need to be ready.
Yeah, and that's a different rig to catching skimmers as it is to catching carp.
Yeah. But like already it's...
That's a right box of tricks, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's for one where it's probably going to end up being slider.
And that's physical kit. We're not talking about a set of rigs, because of course in a commercial the chances are they're going to have some sort of 10, 12, 14 zip in the pole. And then a set of rigs to go up and down, up and down.
Yes.
Like that. The pole is that length, whereas you're talking about multitudes of rods, and it's the kit, and it's the dedication. Sorry, that's the preparation and application. But the dedication is the same, isn't it?
Because that's the getting all that together, getting it ready, making sure it works, and then going out there and actually doing it, sort of thing, which takes a lot of time, you know, to set 3 of each whip up, 3 or 4 of each rod up, set up pole rigs for this.
Listening to that is one of the reasons why the team can't change every year. Like, can't be a point system where certain anglers get in big after a good year, because who's got all that kit?
Not a lot
and
of
all
people.
that experience to even do it.
You build it up over years, don't you?
Do you know what I mean? Like someone who has a really good year at Evesham, if it was a point system to get in the team, just playing devil's advocate, like someone who did really well at Evesham, got a load of points, then he goes and he's faced with that.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like I think is it France and that do like a point system for the team?
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of countries do. The freestyle feed. I was talking to Phil Ringer, and he said that the reigning world champion. Bear in mind that he's Romanian. He's reigning world champion, and they are triple gold medalists. They're on an hat trick, and the reigning world championships is not fishing because he's not made the team.
Wow.
Because they have a structure as a point system, which to me never works. 1 or 2 countries, Germany got a team together a couple of times at Bounce, and they're the ones that stopped us achieving our hat trick because they'd had anglers that had fished more than once, and I think that's massive.
But I do think, by the same token, some system to give accessibility to that for people would be
make
good.
it better,
Not necessarily if you come in the top 5 in this match, you're fishing a world champs, but if you come in the top 10 in this league,
it would give anglers an inclination to do it as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you'll have the
that style.
option to come as the
Well, you might
sixth
have
man.
a manager's pick. I think some countries have another system, which is an hybrid of the two, where, as you said, he picks his 5, and then his 6th man is from the top 10.
Yes.
And he can then pull him up from those 5, for instance. I think you have to finish in the top 20 to be in those 5, which is achievable for most of the people commit, which means that you're keeping your anglers sharp, they're on the game, they're keeping up with the trends and the types of fishing, so they can't just go, well, I've won it 3 times and I just get picked anyway. I'm not going to go fishing, then turn up rusty and just fish for yourself, which I think is important for a team.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a bit of an hybrid system. But ultimately, and I think this is probably worth mentioning, his dedication to his fishing tells me that if he decided he wanted to be international, he would be and could be. You naturally, obviously, are there doing it, and I look at my time and I can't believe how much dedication I put. I look back now and go, wow, that were incredible. What you do and didn't do, and the amount of time you spent thinking about it, perfecting kit, practicing. I mean, it's a cliche, but I remember Tommy said, you've got to get to 100 metres, you need to take your clip, and it were winter and I couldn't get out because I was doing my thing with Preston at the time. So I'd go in the dark and I found a place where the bank was safe, and I'd cast up to a clip, and of course I can hear it hitting my clip, and I went out practicing every single night for 2 hours till I couldn't feel my fingers to make sure that I were hitting my clip and lowering my feeder in, because that's what I needed to do to be the best I could be, not to be the best, to be the best I could be. And that sort of takes me on to the next bit, which is, it's quite clear that the anglers that we talked about will master the commercial scene in the UK, or any others. You know, there's some good domestic anglers who are brilliant at what they do, aren't they? Eddie Whittle comes to mind. He's got that river crap, fantastic angler, full stop.
Yeah, amazing.
But he perfects that river and he can do it brilliantly. I look at Tom Norton on the River Trent, you know, people who just seem to excel at what they do. So, is it a common thing amongst successful anglers? Is the common thing not that they've got opportunity or the finance or jobs for the boys that get picked? Because I look at these commercial guys, as you said, Christian Jones, Andy Bennett, Jamie Hughes, Andy Power, they could fish for England if they wanted to.
Easily, all of them. Everyone you've just named. And I love it when people go, why ain't Andy Bennett in the England team? Ask Andy. He'll tell you why. Because he don't want to be. He wants to go and catch a load of F1s and win a load of money in England. Why ain't Jamie in it? Don't fancy it.
Yeah.
If he wanted to, he could
do.
He's got the drive and commitment, and he's applied it to what he wants to do, and he's amazingly successful at it. And if he wanted to come and do that in the England team, he could. I bet if they wanted to go feeder fishing,
the flip side, if you went head first into the commercial thing and did it for a few years, you'd win them all.
No,
do you know what I mean?
I agree. It's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because if there was a commercial fishing world championships, it wouldn't surprise me if none of them lads who we've named, they probably wouldn't be interested either.
No.
Because it would interfere with their plan, their programme, what they do, how they do it, how they apply, their time scale. And it's the time spent, isn't it?
Yes.
There's only a matter of time, now you said it, that probably will come, because commercial fishing is getting more and more popular on the continent.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
I do know for a fact that when the feeder team was first brought together and Tommy Pickering tasked himself with finding anglers, one of the first people who rang up was Andy Findlay. And he just said, no thanks.
Not bothered.
I couldn't care less. Which is amazing. It's probably interesting for the people watching who don't get to know, obviously, all these sorts of things that go off, and fantastic insight into it as to what we do. And of course, then there's the team fishing element, which I think is also something that I know is close to all our hearts. We're all very fortunate. We fish for the Drennan Barnsley Blacks, and we love it. I know Joe rocks up when he wants to, gets his points, tips them into the captain's hat. There you go, got my points, I'm off. And you're absolutely dedicated to team fishing, and I love it as well. But there's a lot going off around team fishing. Is it dying? Is it on its arse? What's your thoughts on that?
If I said to you, is team fishing dead, Joe? What would you say?
I want to know your thoughts on this, Matt. Because it doesn't matter what I say.
I think team fishing is in a ridiculously good place at the minute. Are there less people team fishing than 30 years ago?
I think there's less people team fishing, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
But does that make team fishing a worse thing or a bad thing necessarily?
No, it just changes it slightly.
Yeah.
It's just not as common, is it?
It's not as common, but it's a rich pot of people
Does
doing
it
it
polarise
now.
it?
Well, I think it's harder than it was 20 years ago when I started team fishing, and I think the standard's a lot better, and I think there's a lot more of a team feeling behind what's happening. The last team match we fished with a commercial national, a month and a half before that match, Lindholm's having 50, 60, 80, 100, 120 peg open matches where people are going just because they really want to practice for the commercial national. And you
Very
get
popular match, that.
And the standard is amazing, and there's so many teams can win that particular match. Census Challenge is another team match, smaller teams, totally different venue.
That's grown on.
It's a sellout year
It's been
after
great
year.
for years, hasn't it? It's been a great event.
Incredible. But again, teams Downs had to put a curfew on. You can't practice before Thursday, lads, because there's teams going for the week before trying to practice on Gloucester and practicing and Canals.
You see these like RAF and Army teams and the Navy teams and whatnot, they take it so seriously, don't they? They're brilliant.
And it's same with National, which qualifies you for the World Club Championship.
Yeah. But that National's shrinking it. I mean, I was thinking about Barnsley and the Nationals and the history. Somebody asked me the other day, and Barnsley won in 81, and then the next time we won was 95, which was on the Gloucester Canal, and we obviously had that fantastic win again, not last year, year before, went it on Gloucester, which took me back to the 95 one and all the ones in between. And when we fished the Gloucester, there were 85 teams in that, in 95, and there were only 46 or 48 teams when we won it the last time. But more than that, there were 5 divisions in 1995 of anglers. What are they all doing? What are them anglers doing? The other 40 odd teams plus the 60, 50, 40 and 30 teams in the other 4 divisions. Do you think they're all on commercial fisheries?
I think there's some of
Dotted
them
here, there and
might be.
everywhere.
Yeah, some of them will be, definitely. Like you go to Mallory Park on a Wednesday match or you know, or one
wherever,
of, like there'll be 10
Whole team
people
then.
there that are the people you're talking about. You got a Woodlands Thirsk on a Thursday afternoon match. There'll be another 5 of them people there.
Yeah.
Got a Spring Vale any day at week there.
They have a little near me. The club I'm in have got all the Grand Union Canal, and every Sunday they have matches on the canal that you never even heard of, and they're anglers that we're all team anglers.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
still going on actual venues. They're just in these little matches with the mates.
Yeah,
and there's probably
Canal.
30 of them there.
There's loads of little leagues
Yeah,
on that, isn't
yeah.
there?
Kegels League and all that.
Yeah, it's massive. Yeah, is it because do you think it's social media and the exposure and you know what gets published and what gets promoted that's clouding the vision? Do you think slightly of people talking about the fact that team fishing's on its
Is it
backside?
2 divisions now? Is that what it is?
Yeah, Division 1
Yeah.
and Division 2 nationals. I think there's definitely less people team fishing. I don't think it's a problem, and I think that team fishing is highly competitive now, and the people that do it, and I said do, are doing it really committed, which is good for the sport because they're trying to be professional, they're going practicing, they're getting together as a team. And I might be right and I might be wrong in saying this, but when I hear people talk about the old days of team fishing and everyone
When
used
it
to
were
go
brilliant.
and you used to get on a bus and a coach, and I get the impression a lot of them people weren't, or not all of them people, or very few of them people were super committed, high-end match anglers that were trying really hard and had all go practicing as a team for months, weeks, and
No,
like, I
fair
feel
comment,
like
yeah.
it was because that was all there probably was then.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
lot
there
more.
weren't much else.
Yeah, we're going to
There
go on
weren't
the
much
national.
else. Yeah, they were the National and the Winter League.
Yeah.
And that were that. It's interesting that because, of course, I touched on there, didn't we? Barnes won it in 81, then it was 95. We were third in 96 because I didn't catch enough in Schoolhouse Bend. And we won in 97, so that should have been could have been three in a row. But then it goes a bit iffy, and if it was so easy, they would have won 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, and nobody were consistent back then. So, but yet we're Barnsley and some other teams are really consistent, aren't they? Now,
Massively.
and is that because we're more focused, we're better at it, we're more polarised, with more dedication, or is it because? And I'm going to quote people: "Well, you're not competing against anybody. There's only you're in it. You've got all best anglers, and there's only you doing it."
Yeah, I'd love them to come and join in.
Honestly, that commercial national now, if you look at the last 5 or 6 years' results, we've won it by a point or 2 points, or even drawn and won it on weight.
Yeah.
Quite a few times in the last 5 years, and there's a lot of teams within 5 points of winning it. That tells me how competitive it is.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, also here's a bit of fact: 2023 won everything
Yeah.
twice. 2024 won note.
Zero.
Yeah.
Didn't win anything.
We had a right rollicking off.
As soon as Josh Newman came in, it was all over, wasn't it?
Yeah.
For a little
Binder
spell.
curse.
The curse of Binder. Well, we had our annual meeting and we were on the ice kicking machine, weren't we? So
Yeah.
Captain Kerry even raised his voice, didn't he?
He did a few times, to be fair.
And
Yeah.
then
It's
obviously-
worked.
So it ain't just because Barnes have got all the best. Because if that had been the case, they'd have won everything in 24 as we did in 23.
Yes. The little bit of bitterness that you get from the Barnsley win everything, it's because you've got the best anglers. You just get anglers from all over the country and that's it. Like if you look at the people who actually say that kind of thing and analyse it, they're not in team fishing anymore. Most of them don't actually know anything about it or do it.
It's a random comment from the back row.
That's exactly what it is. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter because they don't know. And some of them are highly qualified people in the trade or fishing or whatever that go, team fishing's not. And it's because they're not in it that they almost don't want to. When actually, if you're in it, again, it's
If you've switched
amazing.
on focus, looking at it properly.
yeah.
Isn't it funny that?
As your local open fishing is,
Yeah.
as your qualifiers
Yeah,
are,
yeah.
as your feeder fishing
Exactly.
is. When you're in it, you love it, don't you? And
It's a
you're
common thing, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Do
exactly.
you know, I think it's the fact that there's a lot of people shouting from the back row who have took one little glance and glimpse into fishing, and that's applied to just about everything we've talked about today, funnily enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
The snapshots and even though we're sat here creating content for social media, Although I'd like to think that YouTube is a slightly different place to a 30-second blurt on, let's say, Facebook or any of the other fantastic platforms that are out there. We're not paid to mention them, so I can't. This is a little bit more in depth, and it's more of a discussion. People can interact with.
I think people are generally more positive on YouTube.
But I do think that a lot of that media is giving people a quick, too short a snapshot, and therefore they're passing judgment. But all in all, I think it's absolutely fantastic. Fishing's in a great place, don't you think?
I think it is. I think everything we spoke about today, you know, international fishing, absolutely buzzing, booming. Is it a good thing or a bad thing that it's getting so segregated? And what did you call it?
Fragmented.
Fragmented.
No, fishing's very fragmented.
Yeah, in general. Be interesting to hear everyone else's
thoughts
thoughts
about
on
competitiveness. How competitive are all the European teams now, by the way?
Redonkulous.
The next gold you guys win, which is only a matter of time,
You'll have earned that.
That's one to hang your hat on,
yeah,
isn't it?
big time.
It really is.
We're buzzing if we get a bronze or a silver now. We really want to win gold, but if you get a medal on international stage in any team
it's
nowadays,
like with a feeder team, isn't it?
Yeah.
Talking from experience, I think it's an awful shame that people do believe that England should win every time.
Yeah.
They know that
them days are gone.
Where them foreigners fishing the little floats, or no, you need to take a good
them
out.
days are long gone.
There's nobody sat there on an upturned milk crate like they were in Pierpoint in 1994. Although obviously our team were fantastic there, they had that slider tapped. There were some teams that looked like they couldn't compete because they couldn't, and they'd not got the advancement of information and the fishing tackle, and we've all kind of brought each other on, and I think fishing's improved in that way because of all the content and information and tackle that's available. I think it has.
And it's probably with the team fishing thing as well. That's why it's so competitive, isn't it? Because the information is there if you want to go and find it.
Less people, but a really rich pool of them. And you could say the same for the commercial finals. It's the same 300 people probably across 5 or 6 big commercial events that are battling it out. And you get this peak of absolute amazing talent.
Yeah, the top 0.1%.
No, that's brilliant. Could you see yourself turn into the dark side as commercial fishing?
I'd love to do mine. I ain't got time to at the minute. No. Can't do both. I'd love to do mine.
You can, because when you do, you do.
Well, when
you're successful.
When we go to Lindo and do it, it's great.
And you turn it on.
It's so much fun. I'd love to do it. I've done loads of it in the past, and all 3 of us have, really.
See, I love commercials, but I can only have time to commit in the winter.
Yeah.
And I love Allcroft, which obviously, apart from the fact that you just keep winning all the time, because you have got that place absolutely tapped, and we can shift, and that's based on time.
Yes.
It's based on time.
It's a lovely time of year, that.
Yeah, it is, and it's interesting because that's so far removed from what we do in the summer. The minute we're right in the thrust of Feeder Master Super League, the team event, got another one coming up, so only 4 rounds across, and then culminating to a final. That's Bait Tech Feeder Masters Super League final, Patchell Park this year.
Another event we've not mentioned yet that's there.
And it kind of that absorbs my summer. It's not until you come down. So it's even fragmented for us because we pull ourselves away and push. But on our Barnsley WhatsApp group, Lee's obviously tearing us all up because he's back off his holidays and he's back at the helm and he's shouting down the phone at us, "Are you all ready for the national?" Which is on the Warwickshire Avon.
Yeah.
So what about that for it?
Yeah.
What about that for fragmentation? So 1 minute we're on Ferry Meadows, next minute we're running a 4x8 little cane sort of stick float down the edges of the rushes to try and catch an odd roach on Warwickshire Avon, which will be fantastic.
Yeah. And 2 weeks before that, we're just nipping over to Ireland to fish a World Club Champs on Enniscara.
Can't wait for that.
So what?
That's going to be great.
Just on that then. So you've got your European Champs in just a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah.
Then what does the summer look like for Matt Godfrey then? Because people need to know the amount of fishing and the amount of commitment that you put in, because how you do it all with your job, because I know how much effort you put into your work, and you're here, there and everywhere doing stuff for Guru, but in between that, you managed to fish European Champs, World Club Champs, Nationals, Commercial Nationals.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
And manage the under-15s
England team. How do you fit
Which
it
is a
all
full-time
in?
job for some people.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, I just think
how do you do it?
You only get one shot at it. I don't like sleeping a lot, which is great. And you just have to go for it, don't you? But we've got Euros back for 3 or 4 weeks. Then we go to Enniscara, World Club Champs. You're coming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Get back for 3 days. Then we go to Spain with the kids for a week, which is under-15s World Champs, myself and Dante. Then we get back from that 3 weeks, and then we go to Bosnia for the World Champs. And then normally you trip Walterland on to end of September, early October, but I don't know if that's running or not this year. So it's intense, but...
And then you've got your filming commitments in between.
Yeah.
Which just leads me into something that I have a little bit that sort of a niggle, an itch that irritates me. It's all right for you. It's all right for you. You've got a life of Riley. You're sponsored. You've got loads of money, or you can do what you want. You don't work.
Don't work.
You don't work. And I'm gonna get you to tell us about you, but I know for a fact that you're doing about 24 and a half hours a day.
9 days a week.
You probably work while you sleep. I mean, sometimes me and you will chat at 6 o'clock in the morning because we're both up and at it.
Yeah.
And 10 o'clock at night. And while you were on a family holiday last week, we had a 40-minute chat talking about coming on today.
Yeah.
So how on earth did you get this fantastic job where you don't work and you don't do it and you can fit all this thing in and you can finance it? This is a serious question. Your life choices, and this is important because I know what they are, but I want everybody else out there to know what they are. How come you don't work as a mechanic, or you don't work in a bank, or you don't work for the council, or you don't do a normal job? Let's call it a proper job. How come you ain't got a proper job?
Because I wouldn't be able to do what I want to do. Like I've made a very selfish decision, and it's a constant selfish decision, that I know what I really want to do, and I need to do that to get my fix out of life. It comes with a lot of sacrifice, a lot of time away, a lot of time even when I am at home, organising, planning,
away in garage,
preparing. Yeah, I'm not there, really not there. So I need a really understanding missus. Thankfully, got one of them. Yeah, but then the work side of it, I'm away a lot for that. Yesterday I were in Essex doing a podcast with Phil Briscoe. Back up last night, come to see you boys today. But I just feel like I've made that decision to be that committed, and I'd still want to do it. I love it, and massively grateful for the fact I can work in fishing, but it does all just merge into one big fishing related thing, really.
A lifestyle choice.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a lifestyle choice, but it's not got an end. And the thing I always used to struggle...
It didn't happen by accident then, is what you're saying?
No, not in a million years. The thing I always used to struggle with is I always used to try and find an end for it. And then about 3 or 4 years ago, I just went, there's not an end to this. You just have to keep on going.
Can't complete it.
Keep going.
Yeah, you do an amazing video, don't you? And you think, that's really good. I can't wait. That's like my pièce de résistance or whatever. And then I've got to do another one next week.
And you
I've got to do 2 in between as well.
Yeah, you've got this great job and you don't work and you just go out fishing with Nick and you just go filming and he's always on. He goes night fishing.
You go fishing all the time, don't you, Joe?
Yeah, all the time.
That's all you do.
You don't have a life, you don't have a family, you don't have kids, you don't have a job. You don't have to sit down and do a lot of editing. How do you manage that? Are you a magician as well?
Yeah.
And you have been all your career in angling.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want anyone to feel any sympathy for me because I have a great life.
It's awesome,
I have a great
isn't it?
lifestyle, but I've manufactured my life in a certain way, like you have, and like you have, with sacrifices. I'm sure, like if we worked outside the fishing industry doing the media and stuff that we do, you could probably be earning loads of money. Or whatever.
But you'd rather do this.
I'd rather do this, and I won't change it for the world.
Big sacrifice.
I think there's a lot of people, if you got
But it's
them,
not,
and
well.
I've done it,
Just like that.
and I've seen it in Guru more recently, trying to employ people, where you get them, and they go, that looks awesome, that's for me, I'll come and do it, and you go, in you come, you go, right, this is what we're doing, bum, 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 right, and some of them, no word of a lie, a week, lads, not what I thought it were, this.
No.
Can't do it, step back into normal.
Yeah.
Or,
they've come to do what I'm doing, lean on their elbows.
honestly, that's happened, and it happened even back in magazine days when we used to work together. And so many people come in, and some are great, and they go, right, I need to step up here.
Culture
And
shock.
Yeah. It's
Doers.
Yeah.
There's
You
no
need-
off
you need
switches
doers.
though. There's no. I always think with what we do with social media and stuff. There's no off switches that like I get the kids to bed or whatever, finish my day's work, and then it's like right, let's converse with you lot.
Yeah.
you know, answer questions, answer comments, and make sure that's gone out and posted on time and all that. All of a sudden, it's 10 o'clock at night.
Which you want to do.
Yeah, of course it is.
But it's a commitment.
It's not a 9 to 5, is it?
No.
Massive sacrifices,
It's not a 9
which
to
I think
5.
we've all shared in common. And the lads that we've talked about, Christian Jones, Andy Bennett, all the England team, you know, people who we all know are all successful. We're all pals, and all the band's lads. It's massive, massive sacrifices, which I don't think always comes across. And I'm not looking for any kind of thanks or glory, because I'm talking about you two. I just want people to understand what makes you so good at what you do, whether that be good at marketing, good at media, good at fishing, you know, all of those things. Why people go, he's got pace tapped. You're just brilliant at everything you do. Why is that? I tell you why. Because it's commitment and sacrifice.
I think it's really important to say that people like Andy Bennett, Christian Jones, Jamie Hughes, Andy May, they get to go fishing all the time, don't they? That's all they do. But actually, Bennett and Christian probably have times, or have had, all them people that you see now that are going commercial fishing and they're on every festival. It's all right for them because they get to go all the time, but they've probably had really tough little periods where they don't have money, but they really want to be committed to fishing. So they've suffered through the hard bit and gone to Partridge on a Tuesday to learn a bit more about F1 fishing, and then gone back on a Thursday and probably shouldn't have, and
the latest Fishing Gurus podcast, I've not got through it yet. I've started to watch it, which is what I don't want to say this because he's one of my heroes, Alan Scott, and he talks about when me and him went to Gold Valley, and that asked John Ray's and Will Ray's dad for his day ticket money back because we didn't have enough for a bag of chips and any fuel to get home. But we did that.
Yes,
we did that because that's what we wanted to do. Sacrifice. Amazing. So, talking about sacrifices, here's a question for you, because I think everybody's been listening to us long enough. If you had to sacrifice and only fish, it's a question for you two, and you could only fish in one place for the rest of your life, Joe, where would that be?
Oh, I'd probably be in like some lovely loch, like in Ireland, I think. Yeah, it probably would be. I have so many great memories there going as a kid, and that. Yeah, it'd have to be something like that, wouldn't it?
Would it really?
Yeah, I think so.
That's interesting. So not chub fishing.
No, I love that. Don't get me wrong, but I think if you were just in one place, you could do a lot there.
Because you've got to go there. So you could spin for a pike.
I could do a bit of perch fishing. I could feed a fish. I think that'd be a magnificent way to
find the
big ferox trout, couldn't you?
Ooh. You could find the tension, the lilies.
Yeah, Irish loch would be handsome. That would.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
What about you, Matt?
I don't know if this is boring or not, but if I could only fish one place for the rest of my life, it'd be Trent. Definitely
Not
be
boring.
the River Trent.
Not boring.
Just again, the variety and the challenge and the seasons, and I don't know if you'd let me go on tidal and non-tidal, but maybe you would.
No, it's two separate venues.
I'd probably go on tidal then.
No,
I love the tidal. It goes left and it goes right and it goes up and it goes down, and
there's everything to go out there, isn't there?
you get some dabs in it, and there's barbel and there's carp and there's
eels,
cycles of fish and yeah.
What about you, mate?
Yeah, come on,
well,
you can't ask me this.
That's why I nailed him.
Upper Trent.
No, that's why I nailed him to say you can only choose one tidal or non-tidal, and because I would say the Trent, but ultimately it's the tidal, and that's because your day's fishing is never over. A 5-hour match, at 3 hours gone, you're catching no, tide turns, you're emptying it.
Yeah.
And the opportunities when you go to tidal, there's opportunity to do everything, and you never get on two pegs the same, because it's so sort of wind. It's got so many bends in it. It's deep, it's shallow, it runs fast, it runs slow. There's a tide. Next thing, you're on a peg that's running away from you. When the tide turns, it's running at you, because obviously where you're situated on the bend.
No 2 days are the same. No 2 hours are the same.
No, exactly. Exactly.
I love the bends and the curves of it, because ultimately there you've got fish. You might be fishing short. 4 pegs away, you're fishing long. You know, I think about North Clifton on that bend in 30s there, where some pegs you're fishing there, and I've won matches 2 pegs apart, fishing on the far bank, and then fishing on the deep, narrow cutout, because of course when the tide comes up from Dunham End, it hits that bank and carve that great big hole in rocks, which is behind the bend that Oh, you never.
You're getting him going.
Yeah. Let's go. Could you think we could sneak on? No, it's absolutely fantastic, and I love that. Love the place. Absolutely love it. But we ain't got to make that sacrifice because we've got the opportunity to win all over the world again. We're going off to Ireland. Looking forward to seeing Breeder at Fountain House and competing. And we're looking forward to doing a lot more fishing. And ultimately, fishing is what we all love. It's what brings us here today. But it's been a fantastic chat.
Oh God, yeah.
And an insight into
Longest one ever.
One of obviously it's a good one. You might have to listen to it in 2 parts, but talking and introducing you, and obviously having this fantastic guest on, that is Matt Godfrey, and we thank you for tuning in. Now, we are actually going to bring this series to a bit of a summer break. So, because we want to go fishing, we've got so much on. I think it's probably important to let you know that don't panic. We're not disappearing. It's not the last show.
Good.
But we're certainly just going to take a little break for the summer because we want to get out on the bank, get some great content. We're all super busy, but we're busy bringing new content and developing new products for our brand. But most importantly, sharing our fishing exploits. So we look forward to seeing you when the weather's cooled down a bit. And you never know, there might even be a fire on. Or you could have another guest. You never know. Anything could happen. But when you've had the best, you won't have anything rest. Well, we won't want anybody else because we've had Matt Godfrey. So, Matt, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
Honestly, boys,
Great
absolutely
chat.
loved it. Keep up the good work. Love watching what you boys do, and thank you for having me on.
Thank you very much. Cheers.